And he is a achiever in his own right. He is to be highlighted. If there's anybody in the city of Lufkin, Texas, that should be highlighted for their accomplishments and for reaching their goals, it's our speaker on today. Amen? Let me tell you just a little bit about him before he comes. He begins his 17th year as head coach of the Lady Roadrunners basketball program. His 24th season overall, having recorded 3 straight 20-plus win seasons from 2006 to 2010 seasons, and compiling an overall record of 303 wins. His 2009-2010 team eclipsed the program mark for wins in a season with 26, including Coleman's 100 career win. He has coached the regional 15 freshman of the year program in numerous seasons, including 2017 and 2018, and has had several players selected for all region and all conference honors. Some of his players have moved on to play professionally. Last season's appearance in the conference tournament made it 14 straight trips for Coach Coleman and the Lady Roadrunners. Amen. Give it up. In 2017 through 2018, he saw one of his players, Miss Natasha Mack, come on, give it up, selected for All-American status by 2 different organizations while in the same year earning Region 14, I said it right the first time, Region 14 Freshman of the Year and First Team All-Region Honors. In addition, Coach Coleman led the 2018-2019 Lady Roadrunners to the program's first conference tournament win and a first ever berth in the national tournament. His team shattered the program mark for wins in a season with 29, and Natasha Mack was named the Spalding NJCAA Division I Player of the Year, in addition to garnering 2 more All-American nods before signing to play with Oklahoma State University. For his efforts, Coleman was named the District L Coach of the Year. Yes. In 2019 through 2020, the Lady Roadrunners again advanced all the way to the Region 14 Conference Championship Tournament, this time finishing as runner-up. The appearance marked the first time the women's program ever competed for the championships in consecutive seasons. Before assuming head coaching duties, Coach Coleman spent 7 years as the assistant coach for the Lady Roadrunners under former head coach Darwin Coleman. As both an assistant and a head coach, Coach Coleman has recruited numerous all-region and all-conference players, as well as having had 2 academic All-Americans named during the same season in 2005 through 2006. The 2004-2005 team received academic All-American honors after posting the requisite 3.0 team GPA. Coleman graduated from Angelina College in 2000 with an associate degree in general studies, and then from there he earned a degree in kinesiology from Stephen F. Austin State University and a master's degree in human sports and performances from New Mexico Highlands University. He was a 3.3 sport athlete at Diboll High School, competing in football, basketball, and track. Coach Coleman is married to Miss Tamala Coleman. Amen. And we are delighted and we are honored to have a man with such a prestigious background who took nothing, because I've known him all of those years. We used to play basketball on the side, and he thought he was good. He was pretty good. We both was probably about 20 or 30 pounds less at that time. But it gives me the distinct honor to introduce to some and present to others none other than our legendary coach right here in Lufkin, Texas, the one and only Coach Byron Coleman. Would you stand on your feet and give him a warm welcome? Amen. Do what you do.
Morning. Excuse me, my voice is always a little cracky on Sundays after we had a 5-point lead with 3 minutes to go yesterday, and a minute and a half later we were down 6, so and lost. So a lot of fussing going on. Glad to be here today, and the excitement that's in this place this morning. Everybody loves a little Martin Luther King. But I'm a little more Fred Hampton. You can kill the revolutionary, but you can't kill the revolution. That's what Fred said, and that's like knocking that door down. You can't stop the revolution when it takes place. Just came here for a little. This won't be long, but. Pastor Branch called me, immediately said yes to coming here and speaking at this morning, and just try to do a little research and background on things, and I try to talk from the heart. So first thing I did was, okay, why do we do this? Why do we have Black history? And what I read was, it says, most schools teach history focused on the traditional events and achievements of white figures. Black History Month gives everyone the opportunity to share and celebrate the understanding and the impact of Black heritage and culture. So most will speak on things Black people like Sarah Boone, who improved the original ironing board in the 19th century, or Mary Van Britton Brown, who co-invented the home security system in 1966, or others like Garrett Morgan, who invented the 3-light traffic light that we go through every day on our streets and roads here. One of my favorite is Vivian Thomas, who developed a procedure to treat blue baby syndrome, even though he wasn't allowed in the operating room for being Black. And if you ever want to do any background on Vivian Thomas, go look up the movie Something the Lord Made. And Mos Def, the rapper, plays Vivian Thomas, and it's an amazing story of a guy who had no degree, and they were having these babies who were having trouble getting oxygen through the hearts, and he invented the tool for the operating procedure with no degree. He had never been to college. He was just like a custodian, and he invented this tool that helped save lives, and he couldn't even go in the room to help because he was Black. I could continue to go on about the Martin Luther Kings, the Malcolm X's, and the Harriet Tubmans, but you probably heard those speeches before. Thank you. Black history is more than the people we see in the movies. Black history is also the people and the things we run into in everyday life. Most pass by Dunbar High School and the rich history that it has brought to this town. The Willie Rosses, the Oscar Kennedy Jr.'s, the Elmer Reds, the Celestine Hunts. The people past and present. Black history is the people who continue to keep the legacy of the school and the community passed on to others so it's never forgotten. History is a lot like education. People don't always want to have it, but people don't always want you to have it. I've always said it to be important if people don't want you to have it. I listened to a lady named Micaiah Little, a former FBI official and member of the Governor's Commission on African American History and Education. She stated that history is being taught in Prince William George County in the DMV area up near Washington. And they're teaching they're teaching in the classrooms there that before coming to America, Black history was unknown, and that Black people were probably servants and slaves before being brought to America. We know that is false. We know we were kings and queens before being brought here unwillingly. Don't let them fool you. She stated, so how do we teach our children that our history is powerful and our history is amazing? And what her class is, this was quoting, and what her daughter's classmates are learning is that they will carry with them when they become senior leaders and executives like this group here. She also stated, quote, I'm fighting this battle every day to change minds, to change hearts, and to change the unconscious bias because they're not unconscious. They are taught at this age that to our children and the classmates. Unconscious bias are stereotypes and beliefs that identities that they place on groups. That's why we have to continue to write our own history, because others will make sure the history fits their narrative and not ours. I was listening to a video on actor and comedian Chris Rock. He says their history will say black people have come a long way, maybe on that slave ship, but not here. They'll say things have gotten better. No, black people are always where they should be. We have always been smart. We have always been innovative. We have always been athletic. We have always been artistic. They'll say President Obama is progress. Listen to this. Progress is implying that he was the first black person qualified to be president. When those kids were asking through that door, they were the first to get through that door. There were many before them that deserved to get through that door that didn't get that opportunity. Many people were qualified to be president, just didn't get their chance or their opportunity. Dr. Goffney was the first black superintendent. That's history, but not progress. I'm the first black coach at Angelina College. That's history. That's not progress. There were many before me and many others that just didn't get the chance. That were qualified. Blacks have always been standing where they should be. It's just people in society have become more and more tolerant of us. That's what's changed. We've always been good enough. We've always been smart enough. We needed them to let us in. Because we've always been kings and queens, like I stated earlier. That's not a black problem. That's a you problem. We have always been fit and we've always been qualified. So understand, if our history has to be continued, so understand is that our history has to be continued to pass down to our next generation. We have to ensure that we leave each generation better than the one before. That's what our ancestors did. We must continue to push for a seat at the table. The push and the fight for black history to be taught in our schools is a must. Black history is American history, and that's not up for debate. The most dangerous person in America is an educated black person. That's why it's been withheld from us throughout history. I will leave you this last thing that our communities and our families must continue to provide. There are 3 areas we must continue to improve: financially, educationally, wisdom and knowledge together. Number 1, financially. It's been the hardest cause. That's what's been taken from us. What's been taken from us mostly throughout history. Redlining, land stolen through massacres like in Slocum, Texas in 1910. Slocum's not that far from here. Go look up history and what they did to those blacks and stole their lands back in the 1910s. That's land that your kids and your grandkids should have, that you hold. Those are assets. We must accumulate assets for our kids, whether through stocks, land, cars, horses and cattle for you trail riders. Anything of value left for our kids leaves them better off financially than the previous generation. Number 2, education. Continue to demand that a better education for our kids. Make sure our kids go to college. Make sure they learn a trade. Everyone doesn't need a college, but they need a skill. plumbers, electricians, mechanics make more than teachers today. We must continue to learn to be competitive in an ever-changing job market. 3, lastly, wisdom and knowledge. Everything can't be learned from a book. Some things are passed down. Our black men must continue to teach our boys how to become men. We have to talk to them about how to survive in uncomfortable interactions away from home. We have to teach things like how to tie a tie, how to change a flat tire, and continue to teach them they can be whatever they want to be. Our grandmothers and big mamas, mothers and daughters must continue to pass that knowledge on to young girls, how to help them navigate in a so-called men's world, as they can be anything they want. They say the game is to be sold and not to be told, but that's not always true. Big Mama would never sell her recipe because Big Mama had no cookbook. Thanksgiving and Christmas dinner is passed down tradition. Pecan pie, sweet potato pie, that pound cake and dressing, and others have no written directions. It's all cooked from the heart and just knowing. No measuring cup is needed. A pinch of this, a little of that, a smidgen of this, and a lot of love. She'll never write it down. You can screenshot it. You can ask Siri, but it will never be just right until it's cooked from the heart. Thank you for having me. May God bless all of you.